Welcome into this week of Buccaneer Insider. My name is Killian McClatchy. Joining me, as always, my partner Anna and joining us this week, it is the assistant volleyball coach, Laura Grace Belote. And welcome on. Pleasure to have you. It's
Thank you.
First time that I think we've all gotten to really to chat.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, welcome on. How have you been? What have you been up to recently?
Been really good. Enjoying life as a new mom and as a coach, and getting to know this group of young ladies here on campus. So very thankful for the group that we have in this year and the unique circumstance that we've been in. It's been a blessing and a joy.
Well, what's the process that volleyball is in right now to get back on the court? I know you guys are practicing every day. I see you guys out there, but what's that look like for you?
So we are we're getting ready for our spring season every day. We've been in an 8-hour segment, and now we're in a 20-hour segment. And so we are of the mindset that the more that we can train, the better we become. So that's something that we've been working to execute in the time that we're allotted, and we're, like you said, in the gym 5 days a week right now. We're working small group sessions and team sessions, and it's been a wonderful start for us. It's been a joy in the unique circumstance to be able to get this time to train our incomers and to work through cohesion as a team and stuff like that. We were talking about that this morning, that this has been a beneficial fall for us in that regard.
So for people who don't really know much about the game of volleyball, what does a practice for you guys look like?
Yeah, so we it could depend on what gym you walk in, but for us, we are Coach McFatrich is of the mindset, and we are of the mindset that we want to do everything fast. So typically practice breaks down with some warm-up style drills and some mini games, and then we go into 6-on-6 as quickly as we can. So we're competing against one another. Competition is really important to us. We want to have a winner and a loser, and as much as we can. So for us, that's kind of what our practice style is.
Well, I've heard a lot of great things about the team and like the personalities in general. Everyone like loves watching volleyball because they're just so fun to be around and their game. What are you looking forward to in particular about their cohesion, I guess, in the spring?
So one of the things that has been a blessing as a coach, and we even work towards this in the recruiting process too, is seeing players that work together well. So that's one of our jobs, is to put the best six on the floor no matter what. And one of the joys of working with this team is that we feel like the locker room is a place where the relationships are built. We can put six on the floor, and they're not just teammates, but they are friends off the court too. And so I think that's something that is a blessing for us. I'm not sure if I'm hitting exactly on your question, but that's kind of one of the things I'm looking forward to see playing out in the spring, is how that relationship off the court works on the court. And I am pretty certain that it'll be a good combination.
Well, because it really is, volleyball really is a sport about, having that relationship with your teammates on the floor, because everything's constantly moving. There's something always happening on the floor, isn't there?
Right, there is. So leadership becomes important in that. Teamwork is important in that. There's always something happening. The play seems brief, but everyone has a role and a responsibility in the midst of that. And because we like to go so fast, you've got to do it quickly.
So your volleyball career started at Charleston Southern. You played volleyball here. What was your experience like on the team?
Yeah, so I had a very unique experience, but one with a lot of joy. So I went through 3 coaches in 4 years, so there was a lot of transition in that. But one of the things that sustained me in that time, and sustained, I think, the teams that I was a part of, is the relationships that I had with my teammates, and going beyond that, the relationships that I had on campus with professors and campus ministries and different things like that. So I wouldn't trade my experience here for anything, and God was gracious in my time here, and feel very blessed to be back too. So.
What about Charleston Southern made you want to come here? I know volleyball definitely played a factor, but
Yeah.
what else about the university?
Yep. So, I believe the family aspect is a part of this university, and I came really. The coach at the time expressed to me that they were missing spiritual leaders on their team, and so the fact that this was a Christian university at the Division I level, that I could come and play competitive volleyball at, all of those things factored together. But between the volleyball and the academics and being a Christian university, that's really how I ended up here, and the location you can't beat. So.
Right. So when you left Charleston Southern, you went down to Mississippi. You spent 3 seasons down there.
I did.
What was the experience like as a coach down there?
So I worked as a graduate assistant with Coach D, and it was an excellent experience. It was it gave me a lot of perspective coming back, and I think that that's something that I share with people kind of in the transition of coaching, if they want to do it or not. I feel very thankful to be back at my alma mater, but it gave me perspective to go somewhere else and then come back. So the competition level was different. Division III versus a Division I school, there's some distinction in that, or there was in my experience. So I think that going to Mississippi and working with awesome people, God taught me that the people can make a place, and that's one of the things that I love about this place is that the people are the difference makers on campus and on teams and in the athletic department and throughout in the cafeteria. So I think that lesson coming from Mississippi back to Charleston Southern is something that I get to see played out daily.
Did you always want to get into coaching, or was that something that you stumbled into with the opportunity down there in Mississippi? Like, how did that come along?
So really it was a work of the Lord. I thought I was going to go on staff with a college campus ministry. I knew coming out of college that I wanted to work with college students. And so when I started looking, part of the process of the ministry I was going on staff with was raising support. And there just came a time where I had to make a decision. And I had some wise people in my life, some mentors that said, hey, let's make a target. What are we running after here? And I knew I wanted to work with college students. I had a background in volleyball. And so that's kind of what I started running after at that point. And through a connection with another coach, I got referred to Coach D down in Belhaven. And so kind of the ball kept rolling from there.
Are you still involved in Christian ministry, even though you're now down the coaching track?
I try to be.
Yeah.
I try to be involved at church and just engage in relationships with people is really how I look at that. And some of my greatest joys right now are investing in my daughter and in my husband's life, and then hopefully in our staff's life and in our players' lives as well. So.
Take us through kind of the process of coming back here as a coach. What was that like for you?
Well, I think there's always an awakening that kind of happens when you go from player to coach. You learn new things and see things in a different light. So I think that my eyes, I guess, were opened to the decisions that may have been made behind the scenes, even when I was a player, from a university standpoint and from just a coaching standpoint in general, and allowed me to have greater insight into that. So.
What drew you back to Charleston Southern, though? Like, what opportunities arose for you to come back to your alma mater, and was that a goal for you at the end of the day to be back here?
It was. So when I finished my graduate work at Belhaven, I wasn't really sure what my next steps were going to be. I was recently married, and the opportunity opened up itself here. I remember actually walking into the office at Belhaven, kind of finishing things, and telling one of my coworkers, hey, this job just came open, I think I'm going to apply, and seeing God's hand really, really work in that. One of the verses that my husband and I prayed comes out of Proverbs, and it talks about the Lord changing the king's heart, and we didn't know, I didn't know coming on my interview here what would happen, but God was gracious, and it was a very quick turnaround. So I came to interview, and I actually just kind of stuck around. So I got the job and stayed here. My husband was still in Mississippi, so it was about 4 or 5 months later that he was able to come and join me here. So.
Very cool.
That is awesome. Something I do want to bring up with you, and you mentioned before we started, you have twins now, so
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank you.
What is it like having new twins and being a volleyball coach, especially in athletics where so much of your time is needed here?
Yeah, it's a joy. I have a great support system in my husband and my parents. They're able to come and care for the girls, and I actually have a younger sister who goes to school here, and have been able to make connections with some of her friends when we need a babysitter. So it's been a blessing in that way, but it's a totally new experience. So there is a learning curve, I think, in that, and so learning to manage time and manage my mindset, and when I'm at home, I'm still a coach, and when I'm here, I'm still a mom. So there's definitely a learning curve in that, but I feel very blessed to be able to do both, and am thankful for all that God has in store for Graceland and Gloria's life. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. And it's probably a bummer that you haven't been able to bring them around because of COVID. Have you brought them? Probably not.
I did one time,
Okay.
but I haven't really too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What are some of your goals for once you're done? Or I'm sorry, what are some of your goals for being a coach in volleyball, and what do you want to do next?
So I'm of the mindset I really want to bloom where I'm planted. So I love being at Charleston Southern. I love being able to invest in the girls that we have here, and so for me, I can get stuck a lot in what's next. So I try to pause myself a little bit, and I really want to invest in the girls that are here, and to really support and run after championships with Coach McFatridge. So those are, I think, my next steps are my desire to invest well, both on and off the court. So.
As a team this year, what are your guys' expectations heading into the spring?
We have pretty high expectations. We really like what we're seeing from our girls right now. They're working really hard. Like we said earlier, we're in the gym a good bit, and we're starting to see our system of plays work for us. So that's always a joy as a coach. So we're very hopeful about what that could translate into as far as wins and losses are concerned. But I don't want to put a number out there, but we're hopeful.
What's it like coaching with Coach McFatridge and being in that coaching staff room?
Yeah, it's a joy. I feel very, very thankful to work with Coach McFatridge, and I'm very thankful for his love for the Lord and the way he thinks about the game. He has taught me a ton already, and so I'm very thankful that I have the opportunity to learn with him and work with him, and we have the opportunity to invest in our girls here together.
Which one is tougher? Watching over this team here in the gym during practice, or your two daughters?
Probably the girls, not my girls at home.
I was going to say, yeah.
Because it's all new, so I feel like I have a little experience on the court,
Yeah.
but being a mom to twins is totally new.
I was going to say, when you found out you were having twins, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I cried.
Really?
But, they were happy tears and really just shock. We don't have twins in our family, so it was a total surprise for us. So I can remember my husband's hand shaking and my tears falling, but the lady that showed us our twins for the first time, she looked at my husband and said, "All right, you better get your resume together. You got two coming." So we were shocked, but
That's so fun.
excited.
That is awesome. Well, I don't know if you got anything else for her?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you so much for your time. It was great being able to chat with you for a bit.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Really was. So thank you for coming on. Laura Grace Belote, the assistant coach for the volleyball team. I want to thank you for joining us, and thank you all for tuning in.